Welcome to day 15 of Eating in Balance. Well, I now have a 38-inch chest again. Still bigger than I want, but a marked improvement on 2 weeks ago. It's definitely shrinking. If I could get back to 36, then I certainly will have turned back time, at least 15 years. When I was young, I had an Aunt Ely who had an enormous chest, and you could see her coming around the corner before she arrived. As kids, we were fascinated by it. As an adult, I was worried I was headed that way. This diet is definitely giving me more energy too. My workload is a bit mad at the moment as I run a couple of businesses. And I would certainly be far more tired by now if I wasn't eating so well. The effect of sugar on me before I started this was quite startling. When I was ill at 40, the doctor tried diet change to get rid of my symptoms, and he took away different things in succession. He started by removing wheat for a week, and I was a lot less bloated, but I still felt nauseous and weak. Next week, he took away dairy, and that had a little effect, but not much. Although I was living in France, so no bread, no cheese, and no chocolate kind of made me a social pariah. The next week, he took away sugar. Well, the change was like a switch had been flipped inside me, and I went from feeling exhausted all the time to a Duracell bunny. I was full of energy, running around, working till 2 a.m, up at 5. I'd never felt so good in my life. The next week, he asked me to bring a Mars bar, a Milky Way in the States, to my appointment. Strange doctor, I thought, but okay. And when I got there, he said, just eat that, and then go to the waiting room for 15 minutes. Well, within a couple of minutes, I felt like I had you sitting on my shoulders. My muscles felt weak, I felt sick. It was the most unpleasant chocolate experience I'd ever had. I don't know to this day if it was because my body was kicking back, fighting me, telling me not to start that chocolate rubbish again, or whether the sugar truly does have that much of an impact on my body. But it was startling. And you can give it a try yourself if you like. Go and buy something that's processed or an acidic food you used to like and eat it, and see what reaction you get in your body now. One of the reactions you may have in your body to acidic foods, like sugar, is inflammation. Inflammation is regulated by our hormones. All our hormones work in pairs. We have one that pulls one way and one that pulls the other. The hormone that creates inflammation and the sensation of pain is called prostaglandin E2, or PGE2 for short. If you break your arm or you bump yourself, it creates the inflammation, which puts a soft buffer around the injury to protect it. But given you don't do that often, you don't need much of it. What you need more of is PGE1, which reduces inflammation. However, an acidic, fast food, sugar-laden, processed diet feeds the PGE2 hormone. It creates far more of it than you need, so you end up with inflammation where you don't need inflammation. It's like this feeding frenzy that sent the natural system out of control. Too much PGE2 also causes fever and diarrhea, so maybe think IBS. If you have too much PGE2 in your body, the way to lower it is a high-fibre diet packed with magnesium, zinc, and omega-3 foods. But you knew I was going to say that, didn't you? Sleeping well, exercising, avoiding estrogen-laden foods like soy also brings it down. This whole eating plan is constantly balancing those paired hormones, so you have more of the good and less of the bad, although no hormone is bad unless it's out of whack. One interesting thing to know about aspirin is that it works on that PGE2 hormone, and that's the way it reduces your headache. But what many people might not know is that it also wipes out PGE1. It's like a scorched earth policy, like antibiotics wipe out good natural gut bacteria. When I learned that, it made me wonder why anybody was told to take 1 aspirin a day to avoid heart problems. What other problems was it creating? But if you stick with this diet and you balance everything, you will naturally balance your PGE1 and 2 and won't have to worry about it at all. Maybe you're already noticing the difference in your inflammation levels. Eggs have also been said to cause inflammation. Many people avoid eggs just because of that. But people always ate eggs, so how can that be? The supposed villain in the egg is the yolk. They can contain arachidonic acid, which is that omega-6 we talked about before, which wipes out the good omega-3 and feeds PGE2. But not all egg yolks are heavily laden with arachidonic acid. Only the eggs from stressed, caged, maltreated, enclosed chickens who get fed meal with a high corn content, which is laced with pesticides. Makes sense, doesn't it? Our chickens didn't used to live that way. They used to wander around the farmyard, always outdoors with autonomy, and ate whatever they found in the pasture, or were given food scraps. Grain-fed meat animals also have meat high in omega-6. So if you can source organic eggs, fed non-GMO meal, from hens that are pasture-raised, and I mean really outside, not cramped into those tractor pens only as tall as they are, those eggs will not be full of arachidonic acid. The right eggs are actually full of components that curb inflation: egg protein, phospholipids, lutein, and vitamin D, all of which we need. By only buying the pasture-raised eggs, you'll also be dealing a blow to that horrible chicken trade. One note, beware the term free range now too, as legally that only means they need 1 foot by 1 foot per chicken, 30 by 30 centimetres. When I was living in upstate New York, these chicken concentration camps were destroying the local farming community. They dropped eggs to 40 cents or 40 pence a dozen in the shops to drive the local farmers out of business. This is how they're trying to make sure that we don't have a choice. So seek out those farm shops and ask questions. And this is not only about good nutrition. Something that completely stunned me was a diagram in a National Institutes of Health study, which showed that those who had high levels of arachidonic acid in their body were most likely to die of COVID-19. It was believed that the pathogen that was COVID-19 combined with the arachidonic acid, the omega-6, to create the cytokine storm in the body which killed sufferers through organ failure. Those without high levels of arachidonic acid or omega-6 suffered much lighter symptoms. It all starts to become horribly clear. Anyone saying, but what about the cholesterol in eggs? We'll come to that in another podcast. So anyone suffering chronic pain, fatigue, or persistent skin issues should really be on this eating plan. Let me know in the comments if you are feeling any different to encourage others to join in too. And I'll see you tomorrow.